Welcome back to my channel. I am 9th house Jupiter, and in today's video we're going to be talking all about the Pisces moon. This is the last video out of my moon sign series. This is a very special and mysterious place for the moon to be in, actually, considering that Pisces is the last sign out of the zodiac. This is a very deep and spiritual archetype here. So as some of you may know and some of you may not know, the moon sign is one of the most interesting things to know about yourself and somebody else, because it's one of the most personal placements in our birth chart. The moon sign is our emotional, our inner emotional core, how our emotional perceptions are of the outside world. What we really feel like on the inside, it's hidden, it's private. It's not what people see when they first meet you, because that is your rising sign. It's not how you express yourself either, because that is your sun sign. So with the moon sign here, we're talking about your emotions, your feelings, your reactions to things, what you need in this lifetime to feel fulfilled and emotionally stable. And your moon sign is going to give a really good indication to how you perceive your mother. How were you raised? How were you nourished as a baby? So let's have a look at what it's like to have your moon in Pisces. This is a feminine water mutable moon sign that's ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So let's have a look at those two planets. Jupiter, this is the planet of abundance, growth, more, optimism, spirituality, philosophy, religion, higher knowledge. You know, wherever Jupiter falls in your chart, it expands things, really. You should check that out. And then let's have a look at Neptune. This is the planet again of spirituality, imaginations, dreams, illusions. And one thing you need to notice here about both of these planets, this is very important. Both of them have got no boundaries. No boundaries, no limits whatsoever. The word boundary and Jupiter and Neptune do not go in the same sentence. Now, let's have a look at the water element of this moon sign. So the water element in itself represents the emotions and feelings. The moon sign, as I said at the beginning, is our emotions and feelings. So if you put those two together, this makes this an extremely watery, sensitive, compassionate place for the moon to be in. This is a receptive place. It's in feminine water. This is a receptive moon sign. A general trait of the moon signs is to be hyper intuitive. Pisces moons, you are extremely intuitive, even more so than other water signs, because you have the influence of Jupiter and Neptune there. It's expanding that. You have this innate ability to just sense things around you. It's a sixth sense type of thing. You feel vibes and frequencies on a deep level, even if it's somebody that you don't know. You can just pick up and think to yourself, you feel like you've just caught some sort of insight into their life and their feeling in some sort of way. But the Pisces archetype is linked with having psychic abilities. Definitely. And as I said at the very beginning of the video, actually, this is a very mysterious place for the moon sign to be in. But why? Why would I say that? Because the Pisces is the 12th house. It represents the 12th house. So let's think about some 12th house topics. This is where we're talking about other realms, other dimensions, spirituality, mysticism. This is endings and beginnings. So there's that murkiness, you know, of unclarity in between worlds. It deals with death. Also, this is the house of the collective unconscious, how we are connected together as a species. It's a complex house. It's a complex house to explain and understand, actually, but that's why there's a little bit of unclarity, that whole thing with Neptune there, bringing the haze and bringing the fog. And if you think about the symbol for Pisces also, it's two fish connected at the mouth going in different directions to represent the spiritual realm and, of course, the earthly realm that they live in between dimensions. One way to think about the Pisces archetype is like the rivers on earth. Every single river on earth connects back to the sea. That's how you need to kind of see the Pisces archetype. This is mutable water. So connected with how everybody feels. So whether it's a positive feeling or a negative feeling, you are able to absorb. You absorb it from other people. You can feel it. And you can sometimes struggle to kind of separate your own feelings and emotions from the collective's emotions. Of course, that would be hard to be. This is what the Pisces archetype deals with, the collective. So the whole, not always able so able to focus on their own. Something that I've observed with Pisces archetypes is that they do have this ability to pick up and feel what somebody else is feeling. If you're talking to a heavily Pisces archetype or influenced person, you'll often find that they're actually mirroring you because that's what they do. They reflect energies. So when you're talking to a heavily influenced Pisces person, it's kind of mirroring yourself, because that's what they do. It's quite a bizarre thing, but you know, we are talking about empath vibes here, highly sensitive person, but definitely empath, and the skills of an empath is a natural gift, and it's real, it's not a joke. For example, my daughter, she is a Pisces rising, and she has Neptune in the first house, and her Mercury's in the 12th house. Like, I can't even put it into words, but the interactions that happen between us are mind-blowing, really. I think something and she says it. It's like whatever I think of, she absorbs it and she says it. So Pisces moon people or Pisces archetypes, you might be the type of person that can actually finish somebody else's sentences. There's been so many examples of it. It's crazy. So I have to definitely be careful of my thoughts around her, because she picks them up so easily, and from other people. I mean, particularly as she grows up into adulthood and I make her much more aware of her skills and what she's got. Could be a bit dangerous for me, really, couldn't it? But yeah, it's real, though. It's real. So if Pisces means, if you're out there and you feel like when you're talking to someone and you're looking at them and you're making eye contact and you're just downloading what they're feeling, what they're saying, then it's because you are. This is an intuitive sign, ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Let's look at the reactions of a Pisces moon. So as you've gathered by now from what I've been saying, this is an extremely sensitive moon sign. I mean, you guys are not strangers to crying, are you? Let's be honest, you are emotional people to the very core. You know, you can get quite upset by things because you're hypersensitive to all types of frequencies and other people's energies especially. So even if you're a male, you're a physical male in this lifetime, and you have a Pisces moon, then the way that you express yourself will actually be in a bit more of a feminine way, come across in a more of a feminine way, because you are in touch with how you feel. A Pisces moon male can sit and listen to how a woman feels about something, for example, for a very long time, and offer the best types of advice. If you were talking to a Pisces moon male, you would feel like they're really understanding, they're really compassionate, they get how I feel, because it's a feminine mutable water sign. Pisces moons, there's no limit really to how you do feel and when you're thinking and how far you can go. You're ruled by Jupiter and Neptune, so you can go so far with your thoughts when you feel things. It's on such a deep level, and this is why you are so caring and compassionate. These people have a big heart. You're very you want good for everybody. You can see the good in anybody, can't you? Like, even if someone isn't the best type of person, you will see some positive traits in them. And because you're ruled by Jupiter, it allows you to have that higher perspective on situations, that sort of higher wisdom, higher knowledge. There is gonna be that wise old soul vibes here with the Pisces, with the Pisces moon. Because this is a mutable moon sign and we're talking about reactions to things and how they are emotionally, then there's not going to be one consistent way with any mutable sign. There's not going to be and Pisces moon is not going to be emotionally consistent because it's mutable. That means to be changeable, adaptable and fluid. You can change and adapt to your environment, the people that you're around, very quickly. You need to watch who your company is, but I'll touch on that a little bit later on in the video. But you have to watch that you don't run off and get completely carried away with the first feeling that you get, Pisces moon, especially when it comes to dating somebody, meeting somebody new, because you're mutable. You're subject to change like the wind. I'm a Sagittarius, I'm mutable, I get it. I can change like the wind. So the first feeling that you get, you might think, oh my gosh, this is the best person ever and I'm so in love. And then you realise, a couple of weeks, a couple of months down the line that you're not. Don't go off your first feeling. When you have a feeling or a choice to make, give yourself time, give your emotions time to play out and see actually how you do feel. Because again, being ruled by the planets with no boundaries, you don't probably always feel that in control of your emotions. And you're subject to other people. You're subject to absorbing somebody else's energy into your energy field. So of course you must sometimes feel it's hard to control that, isn't it? You're dealing with your emotions and whoever else you've interacted with in that day's emotions or that week's. You know, what a piece of advice for Pisces archetypes, if you've been socializing or you've been around a negative one, you know, make sure you're cleansing your space, cleanse your aura, make sure you go and have a shower, wash yourself off. Like, it's very important, because you do literally absorb other people and other people's feelings and take that on. You can also sometimes worry about how you're perceived by people, and sometimes, you know, not always say the truth. You won't always say exactly how you're feeling on something, especially if you know it's going to hurt the other person. Pisces moons, you know, you don't like hurting people, so if you know that the truth is going to cause some real damage, then you will just maybe elude that, because you know, Pisces are so sensitive, so if they hurt somebody else's feelings, they're actually going to feel hurt themselves. Like, they do not like upsetting people. It's not really in their nature. This is not that type of moon sign that we're talking about. Virgo is the opposite to Pisces, and one of the traits with Virgo archetypes actually is they are a little bit judgy. They can be quite judgmental, really, of people, not in a mean way, but they just have their, like, sort of strong opinions on things. Pisces, the opposite to this, you're not really very judgmental at all. You're very compassionate, you're very understanding. You can see the light in people, you can see the good. You've got the Jupiter higher perspective that you're looking at. You see the bigger picture. When we're talking about Jupiter, we're talking about bigger picture always. This is not limited in any way, but you know, as I was just saying, when you've had people around you, and you've been around people, especially negative ones, and you know, they've put emotional baggage onto you, you know, this is the point where you need to make sure you're protecting yourselves, Pisces moons, from energy vampires, from people who operate only from a low level frequency vibration, who only want to come to you to offload all of their stuff, but they're never actually there for you. Like, no, protect yourself from that energy, and maybe sometimes use and pull on the opposite Virgo traits and be judgy of people. Look at who you're around. Are they good for you? Are they giving, or is it just a take situation? Sometimes use the opposite strength of Virgo and be judgmental of who you're around, because this, out of all moon signs, this is definitely a sign that needs to be careful of the company that you keep. Don't be around bad eggs. You don't need it. Somebody with toxic traits, because you're mutable, you can end up basically taking on and adapting and mirroring those same toxic traits. Having to deal with and always be subject to feeling without any control or say-so on your behalf other people's feelings. You're always having to deal with how other people feel, aren't you? You're absorbing it. You can feel it. This is draining. It would be draining for anyone. It's quite a heavy emotional burden that you carry. Being Pisces moon, you have to carry a lot of emotional stresses with you, should we say. And this is why you have tendencies, of course, to crave isolation and just want to be completely by yourself, so that no one can get into your energy field, and so that you can just recharge and re-heal, which you need to do. You need to take time off by yourself so that you can shut out any other energy, any other aura, any other vibration coming into yours, because it affects you more than any other moon sign. You were affected by how people feel. So take that time to be by yourself. But I will say, you know, to other people who might not be a Pisces moon, and you've got a Pisces moon family member, for example, you're watching because, you know, you've got a son, husband, whatever, that's a Pisces moon, then know that they do need time to themselves, and they will from time to time withdraw. But you've got to keep an eye on that. If they go too quiet and too withdrawn, you need to check in on them. Ask them if they're okay. This isn't science going to be asking everyone for help. No, they help others. So you just need to make sure you're keeping your eye on them. Are they okay? Bring them out of their, you know, they can get very locked in their heads, Pisces moons, because they can think so far. Pisces moons are also used to, I feel, feeling misunderstood because of how deeply you feel, and there isn't a limit to your imagination, your dreams, your mindset, like, you know, big picture. We're talking big picture, and sometimes you don't feel understood by people, so you kind of shut off and don't want to express to people how you might actually be feeling about things sometimes, because that you're thinking, God, they're just going to think I'm lost. going to think, how have I got there? But you need to know, if you're a Pisces moon, you need to know you're inclined to feel these deep emotions. One of the reasons why you're actually prone to isolation or wanting to be by yourself is because when we talk about the 12th house, this is also the house of isolation. So, you know, Pisces moon just kind of just a bit of an aloof nature, and just when you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed particularly and you want to escape from this reality, you can just go MIA for a couple of days. 12th house also, this is where we do touch upon the topics of drug and alcohol abuse in some sort of way. Pisces archetypes, Pisces moons, you like to feel something because you're so used to feeling. You know, feeling is what you do, you feel everything. So when there's, you know, alcohol or drugs that can give you a certain feeling that help you escape from the mundane or overwhelming realities of normal day-to-day life, or the people that you're around and maybe having to take care of, you can. And also Jupiter and Neptune, I've been saying you've got no boundaries, so you might struggle with willpower and controlling addiction and overindulgence, really. So be careful, stay. I'm not here to tell anyone to do anything, but Pisces moons, I'm just saying, with the topic of drugs, alcoholism, you have to be careful dabbling in that world at all, because you can get carried away with it. The overindulgence, that Jupiter, that's what Jupiter does. It wants more. Okay, a little bit's not enough. We can get into dangerous territories there. So just watch out for that as well, because, you know, and that's not for all Pisces moons. I'm not saying all Pisces moons turn to that. But, you know, this is the most creative moon sign that there is, one of, definitely. But, you know, Venus is exalted here. Venus has its exaltation in Pisces. So this is talking arts, beauty, you know, creativity. You need to be putting, when you want to escape reality, you need to be putting that energy into something creative and outlet, something more positive for you. Also, this is a mutable sign, so, you know, I've said the Pisces moons are not going to be emotionally consistent, and sometimes they're going to want to hang around and be with everyone and be really social, and other times they're just not going to want to be. They're going to want to be in complete isolation by themselves. You need to think of a mutable person as different sides to the same person. That's how it plays out, and they can change and adapt to who they're around and what they're doing. So, for example, if you're a parent out here trying to raise a Pisces moon, then you watch their company, watch their crowd. You don't want these people getting in with bad eggs. They're susceptible, vulnerable to being led down, you know. There's a bit of gullibility there, naiveness slightly with this moon sign. They can get led astray by people. So, you know, just watch out for that. My daughter, Pisces, rising Mercury in the 12th. I'm going to have to keep an eye on what company she keeps. So let's talk about what your mother would have been like, because your moon sign is going to be your perception of your mother. You know, really how you were raised. So in some way, shape or form, a Pisces dominated woman, whether that be sun, moon or rising sign, or heavy 12th house energy, stellium up in the 12th house, for example, even possibly Sagittarius energy, because we are talking about the Jupiter rulership there. So, you know, it could have been a Sagittarius, sun, moon or rising, heavy 9th house energy, stellium's in the 9th house, or Jupiter or Neptune prominently aspecting her main planets, or, you know, Jupiter or Neptune could be their chart ruler, you know. But in some way, you need to look properly for these things in the mother's chart to see where the energy is coming from, because the moon sign is a reflection of, you know, your mum's state at that time, and she had you. It's very, very interesting. So if your moon was positively aspected, then your mum would have been that unconditional love type of mother. You couldn't do no wrong. She didn't really tell you off, to be honest. Kind of didn't give you many boundaries, really. Would be a very spiritual woman, into like the arts, a lover of music. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, Pisces and music. But a lover of music and other cultures, a very interesting lady, but a woman with a very, very big heart. Now, if your moon is a little bit more negatively aspected in your chart, then it would indicate some sort of potential mental issues there with the mother growing up. a bit of instability, should I say. A little bit of a mystery woman. You just felt she was hiding things from you, and you was always trying to work her out. Like, what is she hiding? What does she really mean? Like, always hyper alert with your emotions. You always had to be very aware of how your mum was feeling. There could have been issues with drugs and alcohol there, just some sort of substance abuse, even escapism. She might not have actually physically been there for you that much, and maybe you had to parent her in some sort of way. But you know, with the Pisces moon, whether it's positively aspected and negatively aspected, you have an unconditional love for your mother like no other moon sign. It doesn't matter what she does. It really doesn't. You will still love her deeply. You will understand, okay, yeah, she did this to me as a child. When you grow up in adulthood, you don't hold that against her. You're a compassionate sign. You just have unconditional love for your mother. It really is a very beautiful thing. But it really does depend as a whole how your chart is aspected, how your moon sign plays out. So let me know in the comments, how was the relationship with your mum? And the other thing you have to think about here is, what house is your moon sign in? This matters a lot. It doesn't change things, but it puts even more context behind your moon sign. And also, so let's say for example you had heavy earth in your chart. A lot of your other elements are earth, or in earth houses, stellium earth sign, then you're going to be a bit more a lot more grounded. You might not feel so in the dream and imagination world that Pisces moons like to live in. They don't want to live constantly with 3D stuff. Geez, no. Oh, if a Pisces moon wasn't allowed to dream and imagine, oh, that wouldn't be healthy for them. They need that. For example, if you've got loads of fire in your chart, then you'll be an even more passionate, super passionate. Like if you are Pisces moon, but you've got cardinal fire, the fire element in your belly, that fire in your belly would help maybe be able to bring you out of sort of darker times potentially that Pisces moon can sometimes be subject to in this lifetime. But if you're a Pisces moon and you're dominated by loads with the water in your chart, then it goes without saying, you're going to be hyper sensitive. You are the empaths of this lifetime. If you had loads of air in your chart, then because of the levels of depths that Pisces moons already go, mixing with air, the thinking and communicating anyway, then your level of thought is literally, we're talking about other realms of thought, the things that you can think about and the way that you can communicate is on a different level to other people. So it depends, guys. Look at your chart as a whole, because this is the importance of trying to understand yourself through astrology. So when it comes to a Pisces moons and their reactions, there's again not going to be one consistent reaction that they're going to give. This is mutable. It is going to depend. Mutable can change like the wind, as I said. But, you know, they will be sensitive. These are sensitive people. Expect them to react from an emotional place. It's always going to come from a place of deep emotion. And Pisces moons will have this inner reaction to want to help people. If you see suffering, you want to help. Some Pisces moons, you can think, you know, it's kind of like your responsibility to help and heal everyone. It's not. I mean, I get why you feel that way, of course. Obviously, you are here on this earth. One of your gifts is to heal people. But, you know, you have to take care of the self too. Because if not, you can just get too swept up between other people's feelings. And then you can't differentiate what's my feeling and what's their feeling, because you've merged it. And it's a bit confusing. And this is a moon sign that if it's around too much negativity and exposed to too many low vibrations, can become pretty depressed actually. Especially if there's anyhow you've got Saturn there, conjunction moon, opposing your moon. It's going to be amplifying that. It can make it a bit of a difficult placement to be with. But this is what I'm saying. Watch your company. Have a little check. Look at everyone in your life. Pisces moons, right now, have a look at everyone in your life. Are they serving you a purpose? Are they bringing anything to you? Or are any of these people just using you? Are any of them just coming to you for a good time? To go out and get wrecked? And then they go off and leave you in a state, and they've offloaded everything to you, and then you're just left there like, take on all their negative energy. You've got to be aware of this to make sure you can keep yourself on the right track and on the right frequency, because you're so subject to change. Music is such a huge thing for Pisces moons, and it's because it's what it does to you. You're so in tune with everything. You're in tune with frequencies, vibrations around you, And music just takes you, it allows you to go off into a different world, into a trance. You just feeling it, and it can help change your mood. It can help take you off to different worlds of thought. It can help you feel like you're processing your emotions. I mean, how many artists out there really Pisces moons? Like, come on, there's so many. And then there are people that often, the Pisces moon artists have music that touch people everywhere. This is the rivers that are connected to everything, everyone, everywhere, connectivity. This is a special moon sign. One thing I've noticed with Pisces archetypes is they do have that slight, similar to Sagittarius, sort of dipsy or clumsy, naive sort of vibes. You know, just you can be easily influenced by other people. So again, another reason to be careful who you mix with. But Pisces moons, let's look at Pisces moon as a partner. What type of partner does a Pisces moon make? I mean, these people will give you their all. They're in it 100%. They're connected with your mind, body, soul, everything. They want to be one with you. They'll do anything to help you. You know, they're so compassionate, fall in love quite easily, I would say. Pisces archetypes, probably likely, you know, because you're so forgiving and compassionate, you're kind of likely to run back to your ex sometimes, or and just watch out for that. Like, don't let people take the mick. A Pisces person, if they're not in a relationship with somebody anymore, there'll always be a part of them that loves that person and has some love, even if it was a really bad relationship. You'll be able to see and remember the good times. You know, Jupiter, higher perspective, bigger picture. Neptune, the compassion side of you. So you've just got such a loving and kind, caring nature. You always see the potential in people. You're always thinking, oh, but there could be this. And you, as I said, you think about the good times. But, you know, sometimes you've got to see people for what they are right in front of you. The whole thing, you know, the haze, the fog, the illusion that comes with Neptune sometimes stops you from seeing people for what they really are. Apply the Virgo energy, be judgy. Judge and think, are they good for me? And it's okay to do that, Pisces moon. This is such a wise moon sign with such big hearts. Like, Pisces moons, the world needs your love and compassion. You know, so many more people would be able to have your perspective, then maybe the world would be a nicer place. I mean, I know you imagine how the world should be, probably quite a lot, and you might even have your own little fantasy worlds that you can just drift off into. This is a daydreaming energy, but this is such a beautiful moon sign, so compassionate, caring, warm at heart. You know, you are the healers. You're the healers, and you have such a calming nature about you. And as I said at the very beginning, this is definitely a very mysterious place for the moon to be in. You are special souls walking this earth, and you are here to help and heal people, but make sure you focus on yourself too. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you for watching. If there was anything that I said that you liked or could relate to, then drop me a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, then subscribe. Come with me on my astro journey through YouTube. Coming up in my next series, this is the end of the moon series. Woo! Coming up in my next series, we're going to start on the rising sign series. So I'll see you in my next video.